Hello there, my name is Maria Higgs, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to do the stretchy picot bind off with or without beads. That is the bind off for my ottilie shawl. There are three bind offs that you could choose from. The first one is a picot bind off without any beads, and that's what that looks like. The second bind off is a bind off with beads. You've still got the picot and it's still a stretchy bind off, but on each picot you have a bead placed. What you'll notice is that the border panel is composed of a number of zigzaggy columns, and the beaded picot is placed at the top of each of one of those columns. The third option for a bind off is actually a beaded picot bind off again, but this time you're only creating a picot every sixth stitch. If you look carefully at the pattern, you'll see in this border that there are a number of rows of beads. You have pairs of beads followed by single beads, then pairs of beads followed by single beads. Once again you have pairs, and in the final bind off you have single beads, and these single beads are lined up on the column where you have single beads placed in the shawl border. Let's show you how you create these picots and how you place the beads. So I've turned the work over because this is the side that you work from to create the bind off and the picots. You can see I've got a few already here, and I've just created a picot here, and our next picot is going to be placed, as I've said before, on the stitch which is at the top of a column of stitches. So let's show you how this is done. So the first thing we do is we bind off 2 stitches. So you knit the next stitch, place the left hand needle into the front of those 2 stitches on your right and knit them together, and do the same. Knit the next stitch, place the left hand needle into the front of the 2 stitches on the right hand needle and knit them together. You'll see now that the stitch I'm on is at the top of a column, so we're going to place the picot. To do that, you transfer the stitch to the left hand needle and knit, transfer it to the left hand needle a second time and knit, transfer it to the left hand needle a third time and knit, transfer it to the left hand needle a fourth time and knit. Now we're going to knit back into the body of the shawl. To find out where the stitch is that you're going to knit into, you start at the next stitch, follow that thread down, there's the loop between the 2 stitches, follow that thread through, and there you've got your stitch. I'll do that again. That's the next stitch, follow that thread through, there's the loop between the 2 stitches, follow the thread through again, and there's the previous stitch. So we knit into that stitch, and the same as before, pass the left hand needle into the front of those 2 stitches and bind them off together. And there you've got your next picot. It'll look a lot prettier when I turn the work over. Let's do it one more time. So you knit the next stitch, pass the left hand needle into the front of those 2 stitches and knit them together. Knit the next stitch, pass the left hand needle into the front of those 2 stitches and knit the 2 together. You're now at the top of a column of stitches, so you're going to place the picot. Transfer the stitch to the left and knit. Transfer the stitch to the left a second time and knit. Transfer the stitch to the left a third time and knit, and one last time, fourth time, and knit. Now we're going to place that needle into the original stitch in the body of the work. So there's the next stitch, there's the thread between the stitches, and there is the stitch you're going to knit into, and bind those 2 stitches off together. I'm just going to transfer that stitch over to the left so I can turn the work over and show you what it looks like. And here we go. There's a picot, there's a picot, and both of those are placed at the top of a column. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to place a bead on a picot. The technique for creating the picot is essentially the same with or without a bead. So we start the same way. We've just created a picot here. You knit the next stitch, pass the left needle into the front of those 2 stitches, knit 2 together, knit the next stitch, pass the left hand needle into the front of those 2 stitches and knit 2 together. We're now at the top of a column there, and we're going to start creating the picot. Transfer the stitch to the left and knit once, transfer the stitch to the left and knit twice, transfer the stitch to the left, but before you knit the 3rd time you place your bead onto that stitch using a crochet hook, just to pull the thread through. There we go. Now you're going to do the same, knit that stitch a 3rd time, so there's 1, and then 1 more time, a 4th time. And now you're going to place that knit into the body of the work, so the same as before. There's the next stitch, there's the thread between the stitches, and we go into the stitch in the body of work and we knit those 2 off together. Let me show you that one more time. Knit the next stitch, bind the 2 stitches off, knit the next stitch, bind the 2 stitches off. You're now at the top of a column, so now you're going to create your picot with a bead. Transfer and knit once, transfer and knit twice, transfer and place a bead, now this is your 3rd knit, and transfer and knit a 4th time. And once again you're going to go into that stitch that's in the body of the work at the bottom of the picot that you've created. So you knit that stitch and bind those 2 stitches together. I'm going to transfer that across for just a second while I turn the work over and show you how that looks. There we go. So there's the 2 picots that we've just placed, and as you can see they are directly above a column. So the final picot bind off is the one where we place the picot with a bead on every 6th stitch. If you remember, I pointed out that you have rows of beads with pairs and singles, pairs and singles, pairs, and the bead for the every 6th stitch picot bind off has to be placed above a column which has the single beads. There are no beads placed in the columns above a pair of beads. So as you can see, I'm actually on the stitch now with the single bead. So I'm on the reverse of the work again now, and I'm ready to place the bead on that column. So again, the technique is exactly the same. Transfer and knit, transfer and knit, transfer and place a bead, and then you knit 2 more times, so once and twice, and then we knit into the stitch in the body of the work, same as before, and bind those two stitches off. And now we bind off 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to verify that you're in the right place to place the next bead. So what you can see here is that's the bead on the picot I've just placed, and if we work our way down that column, you'll see there's the single bead poking through. Here we have our pair of beads on the next 2 columns. We're now on a stitch on the next column which has a single bead, and that's where we're going to be placing a picot. So there we have it, the 3 different bind-offs for my ottilie shawl. Picot bind-off without any beads, picot bind-off with a bead set at every 2nd stitch, and a picot bind-off with a bead set at every 6th stitch. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you've learned something from it. If you'd like to knit the shawl, a pattern is available on ravelry.com, and the name of the shawl is Ottilie. Do please come and visit me and say hello. Thank you.